You're listening to The Right Side of the Rivers, hosted by Todd, McCollum, and Russell Dreyer. This show tackles public issues from a Pittsburgh point of view, offering common sense conversations, right-of-center perspectives, and a focus on the people, policies, and principles shaping Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, and Pennsylvania.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to The Right Side of the Rivers. This is the official podcast of the City of Pittsburgh Republican Committee. And my name is Todd McCollum. I am the chairman and the host, and I am joined once again by my good friend and co-host, Russell Dreyer, the vice chairman. Russell, how are you?
Good evening, Todd.
Russell, we have a little thaw out here. I know you work outside a lot. You thaw it out. This probably feels like July to you right now.
Everybody out there, I'm sure, has had a good cross-training workout in the past 10 days. So good to be back in studio and not shoveling snow.
Yeah, it's nice to not to go outside and not be layered up times 3. It was a good day. We've had some good weather. Finally, some of the snow's melting off. There's some on-street parking. Kudos to everybody out there that has to work in this cold, and we appreciate you a lot. Russell, last show, we are on show 16 right now. Last show was Benson. Running for Congressional District 12
PA
and
12 and
PA. Yep,
we're gonna have a primary.
it looks that way. Yep, and that's okay. Iron sharpens iron.
No, it's good to couple messengers get the message out about the platform, about the party, and get Allegheny County charged up here.
Right, and I was at a meeting last night, and everybody seemed impressed by Benson and him being on the show. He was at our Pittsburgh meeting this month. Everybody seems real happy with him, and should he come out as a candidate, I think everybody can get behind him, and it's a good youth movement.
Yep.
No matter what happens, we hope he stays involved with the party here. Very much, we need youth injection.
A lot of young guys showing up for the party this election cycle. It's good to see.
Yes, very very much so. Well, we have a special election coming up, and doesn't necessarily affect the city of Pittsburgh, but it affects our neighbors to the south and right up against the city. And that special election is coming up in 13 days. So we wanted to get our special guest on today. Why don't you tell us about our special guest?
Sure. Welcome back, everybody. It's great to be back in studio with you. Yes, we do have a special election coming up. Before I bring in our special guest, who will be representing us in this special election, I just wanted to quickly mention something that hits really close to home here for us in Allegheny County. The chairman of the party here in Allegheny County, Jason Ritchie, has just been endorsed to be the lieutenant governor candidate. So Stacey Garrity is running for governor, and Jason Ritchie, our GOP chairman here in Allegheny County, will be running for lieutenant governor. So I think that brings a focus back to Allegheny County, as it should be. So we have a lot of work to do. It's an exciting time to be part of the party here in Allegheny County. So looking forward to the statewide races. Let's just switch gears here, though, a little bit. We do have a special guest in studio with us tonight, running in the special election, House District 42. The election will take place on February 24th, and we would like to welcome to the show Joseph Leckenby. Joseph, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, Joseph, welcome to the right side of the river. So you're running for a representative seat in a special election. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, my name is Attorney Joseph Leckenby, and I've grown up in Mount Lebanon, which is in District 42, my whole life. Started out kind of close to the Galleria on Iroquois Drive. Now I live on North Meadowcroft Avenue by Dormont Pool.
So Joseph, tell us a little bit about the district. What the boroughs, the municipalities, if you could just let us know, give us the lay of the land a little bit.
So the South Hills in District 42, the municipalities in there, it's kind of spread out, but they're all contiguous. There's Mount Lebanon, Dormont, Baldwin Township, Castle Shannon, and a part of Upper St. Clair, because Upper St. Clair is shared by Republican Representative Natalie Mihalik, who's a kind young lady who's been in office for almost 10 years now.
And she's a great person to have in our corner, not just next to you in that district, but in all of Allegheny County. She
Right.
certainly is a great.
Natalie's been
state
a friend of our committee for a long time now since we've taken over. She does a great job. We like Natalie very much.
So, Joseph, tell us a little bit about this race. Who will you be facing, and what you know about your opponent?
So previously, this seat was held by Common Pleas Judge Dan Miller, who, as I said, he is a judge in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. But before being elected as a judge, he was a state representative for this district. Now, when he was elected as judge and took his seat in January, he had to resign his seat in Harrisburg, so this district became vacant. I was chosen by the Republican Committee of Allegheny County to run in this special election as a Republican, and the Democrats chose a kind young lady named Jen Mazzocco, who's the borough president of the borough of Dormont, to run on their side. So I am facing a young lady who's a teacher in the city named Jen Mazzocco, and she's my opponent. I have not met her personally. What I can tell based on certain things she said is she's kind of leaning to the far left base of the party and people in the county. She's been vocally anti-ICE and anti-law enforcement in general. She's always talking about supporting LGBTQ persons. And she's also speaking about defending democracy when we know that these are just code words. Because, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with supporting diverse people. But if you're using these types of persons just as political buzzwords, that just strikes me as someone who's just playing a game here and not really doing the best that she can.
When we look around the district that you're going to be running in, previous election cycles, what's the total votes that you've seen in previous election cycles? Now I'm talking about the general election, so maybe in the special election turnout won't be as high. But I believe the last time you ran in the general election, do you remember what the breakdown was, and did people cross party lines or not? What did you see in the last election cycle?
In the last election, which was 2024, so the president was also on the person's ballots. The total number of votes was, I believe, around 29 to 30,000. I was a brand new candidate, and I did not win. However, I got about a third of the vote, which is a good showing for a first-time candidate in a quick turnaround.
So focused on this special election, turnout. I think we can expect turnout to be much lower than a general election, especially a presidential cycle. Correct?
Extremely low, I believe. Unfortunately, persons, due to being busy or other things, do not really come out to vote. Unfortunately, for these elections, people who vote are often very interested in these types of government affairs. So I believe the most important thing for both sides, myself and my opponent, is getting people to turn out to vote.
Well, Joseph, that brings up an interesting issue here because historically Republicans don't show well in special elections. It would be a good time to remind everybody how important the mail-in ballot is in this situation. Uh, we're 13 days away from this election. You should still be able to get a mail-in ballot for this, but need to remind people, if you have already signed up or had mail-in ballot use last year, that you would have received something from the county, like I did a couple days ago, to re-up that mail-in option. And if you had signed up for that and you're in that district that you're in, you would already be receiving. You will automatically receive your ballot for your election because that's included in special elections. Is there a push for you to get the use of the mail-in ballot as well for Republicans?
Look, there's definitely a push for that. As I said before, people are often busy, and I believe that using a mail-in ballot in this regard, if that's something you feel comfortable with and want to do, is a way to stay involved from the comfort of your home. I know people have different opinions on mail-in ballots, but that is an option for people to vote for me. I do know that some of the people in the district have already voted for me by mail-in ballots, just from what they've said to others. So there is already a push to get people voting by mail, and that is an option if you'd like to do that.
Okay, and as always, we are joined by five-star producer Missy, and we'll ask Missy to put a link in for anybody that wants to sign up for a mail-in ballot. We'll ask her to put that link in below. Still shouldn't be too late if you were in that district to get a mail-in ballot out to you.
Well, and your point is well taken on the mail-in ballot, especially with a special election, because I would venture a guess to say the majority of people don't even know that there will be a special election happening. Now, if you are a mail-in ballot recipient, if you are signed up to receive a mail-in ballot, you will all automatically get notified, I think is your point,
right,
that there's a special election happening.
Yes.
So it's like a public service announcement that's sort of pre-baked into the mail-in ballots.
Right. It's a reminder that it's being sent out to you by the county, and you're paying for it. We should be using that. That's I mean, how many times have we gone out, for candidates in special elections, and knocked on Republicans' doors, and they had no idea that there was a election upcoming. Even if you wouldn't have known that an election's coming up in your district, Joseph, that the ballot will be sent out to you, and this is the perfect time for the use of that, because
Absolutely.
Inevitably somebody will forget that there's a special election happening on that day.
Look, if you have kids and your kids' schools are off for election day, I know in Mount Lebanon they're doing remote learning for that day, but if someone does not have kids or are older, I would agree it's easy to miss that data and that information point that there is an election coming up. And it's very important to vote in every election. I think being able to vote is quite important, and you should exercise that when you can. And if you live in District 42, you'll have that opportunity earlier than most other residents in this Commonwealth because it is a special election.
And it still is February in Western Pennsylvania, and Lord knows we could have what the weather would be set up for on that day. It could be sunshiny and feeling like July, or it could be minus 15 and 2 feet of snow out there. So
now the district itself that you had described, we have strong committees in those areas. So I assume you're networking, and well, you've already established that you've got a pretty good network because you've run before. But this is time to really prime the pumps with those committees in the district and get those folks to help you get the word out. Correct?
Yes, that's for sure. One of the things we've just been doing is phone banking via an app called Pulsar, which I've used when I was a committee volunteer to get people to vote. now the Pulsar list is updated for our district and for this election. Another thing people in the committees or in the area can do is invite me to speak to civic groups or anyone who's willing to listen, be interested, and to go knock on doors if they'd like to do that.
How's the campaign going? Have you been out obviously with committees and been to some bingo halls and et cetera? Or how's it going out there?
Unfortunately, the weather has been pretty bad. I don't believe my opponent has been knocking doors either, but I have been calling people. We have an active Facebook page. I have a website which people have posed questions to me, and I do respond to these questions.
Well, go ahead and give us those coordinates for the Facebook page.
I believe it's Joseph Leckenby for 42, and there's also a personal one, Joe Leckenby, that's connected to the account. Now this Facebook page is run by fine people at RCAC. I'd like to give a nice shout out to one of the interns, Catherine Dombey, who's been very professional and very kind with putting this content out there. I'd be lost without these kind people, and that's an understatement.
And we do like to remind people, in case they're checking in for the first time, and when we refer to RCAC, we're talking about the county committee. That's our parent organization, and we refer to them often as RCAC. But just in case anybody's out there joining for the first time and wonder what we're talking about, it's a little inside baseball that we sometimes gets lost, that we forget that sometimes somebody new's joining in as we're gaining Facebook followers by leaps and bounds here. So
yes, the Republican Committee of Allegheny County.
That's a good problem to have.
It is.
Correct.
We're not complaining about it, for sure.
Well, it's a very interesting district. A lot of strong committees, like you were saying, in that district. Tell us a little bit about your journey in politics. You're obviously a younger candidate. What brought you to politics?
I believe when I was 18 years old, I was voting in a municipal election for the first time, and the seat for minority inspector of election for the polling place was vacant on the ballot. It said write in, and I was a little concerned that no one chose to run, so out of protest or wanting to do something, I clicked the button and typed my name on the keypad that came up on the voting machine, and by that one vote, I won the election for majority inspector. And that caused me to be really interested in at least the process of running an election, the people you see on election day who check people in. Around the same time, I got involved with the Duquesne University chapter of the College Republicans. And through that, I got to meet a lot of interesting people. And then one of the women who was on my election board was also my neighbor, because the polling place is just the people who vote with you. MJ Costello was on the board. I got to know her. And then I went to law school. I joined the Federalist Society at Duquesne University at the Thomas R. Klein School of Law. And at that time, I also joined the Republican Committee of Allegheny County, and MJ was also on that committee. And then 2024 came, and at that time I was thinking, well, Dan Miller is really well liked. It doesn't look like anyone's stepping up to run against him. And it took a push from these kind people, from MJ herself, to just say, would you be interested in doing a write-in campaign? So in May of 2024, we ended up getting around 682 people from the district to write my name in the Republican primary, which was enough in lieu of petitions to get on the November ballot. And that's how I really became acquainted with this district.
So you've seen many different sides already to, I guess, to the political game and to the political machine. And like we said, you certainly bring the youth dynamic back into play for the party. And then we've talked about this on other shows. That does seem to be a trend working for us lately. Is there does seem to be a youth movement towards the Republican Party. Um, what is your objective once you make it to the state house? What are some things that you'd like to work on public policy wise to improve the lives of people in the district?
One of the objectives of my campaign that I'd like to work on is supporting the elimination of school property tax for funding for public schools to push it towards a more egalitarian sales tax-based model. I believe this would also help people who are senior citizens. The bill that's currently in the House of Representatives would also take away taxes on people's Social Security as well as military pensions. So I believe it's something I could get behind, and I've had great success in talking to people about this statewide issue. Other issues I'd like to tackle are making sure consumers are protected and protecting people's constitutional rights, whether that be the Second Amendment or the right to free speech.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna just to add one more thought to that about with schools and property taxes. If Josh Shapiro were in studio with us today, now if you remember, Josh Shapiro made a campaign promise that he was going to allow school choice in the Commonwealth, and he broke that promise. If he were in the studio with us today, what would you ask him, and what would be the case that you would make to Josh Shapiro for school choice for kids in the Commonwealth?
I would say that the value of an education should not be dictated by your zip code, which your zip code is often dictated by your family's income compared to upper middle class places, compared to lower income places like the Hill District. Those children are the same in that they deserve quality education and opportunities. And I would also say to Governor Shapiro, I'd ask him what he's doing. He tends to just go on the social media and post random things. Today he posted about how cursive is coming back to schools, which that seems like a good thing, but why is he making all these public appearances just trying to shore something up for future political office without really doing good public relations work to show people his policy priorities? It just seems he's developing some sort of cult of personality. It drives people nuts. It seems like he's an egomaniac sometimes, which I don't believe that to be true, but he's just trying to show, look at me. And I don't think that's the best behavior for a politician.
One more question for me, Joseph. You explained to everybody about your how you got into politics, but what makes you the Republican? What makes you the conservative option here? Where is your conservative? What are the roots of your conservative values?
I believe in empathy and listening to other persons, but I also believe in strong borders and a rule of law and holding persons accountable for their actions. I'm someone who likes to support law and order policies and making sure people feel safe in their homes, especially the elderly and young people who are kind of defenseless against crimes. I stand firm against open borders and woke behavior, and I believe that's really the conservative element of my campaign. But I also see a support of the nuclear family and the ability for parents to raise their children how they see best, the ability for people to practice their religion freely in this Commonwealth. This Commonwealth was founded by Quakers, and for right now, Friends have become quite liberal, but the Quaker values of this Commonwealth still predominate in our Commonwealth Constitution and how we think about things like privacy and protection from the police, consumer protection, and that's why I believe that I'm a conservative. I hold dear to these founding principles of the nation and to this Commonwealth. I support persons' constitutional rights. However, I also support strong border defense and law and order policies and making sure people feel safe in their home.
Okay. Well, thanks. Joseph, we're going to talk some current events here. Russell and I like to talk current events, and we're gonna loop you in here and into the conversation, and we'll get you in here. Let's start with this because Joseph has mentioned consumer rights a couple times now. The story that our friends in Carrick are losing their local grocery store on Brownsville Road. What are your thoughts on that?
Another potential food desert. That is a story that I don't quite understand, because there is a huge need up in that community. It's such a dense community, dense Pittsburgh neighborhood. There is really a need up there for a supermarket. I think a lot of people along the Brownsville corridor there, all the way from the South Side Flats, all the way to Route 51 on the back end there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of public transportation that runs through there that can get you quickly to the current Shop and Save in Carrick. So I'm a little concerned and also a little shocked to hear the news that Shop and Save is going to be closing.
Yeah, the like you said, the next closest supermarket would be down in Wharton Square or in Brentwood Town Center out on 51. It seems like that there should be, and that store has been there for as long as I can remember. I mean, my goodness, and we have a lot of friends in Carrick. It's a neighborhood that's friendly to us, and we sympathize with what they're going through up there. It just, I mean, is it just Giant Eagle running them out of business, and the competition is too strong, or how do you see that?
Well, I think I'm actually just looking at my phone here, getting a couple alerts here from our 5-star producing crew, and it sounds like we've got some breaking news on the subject. So kudos to you, Todd, for bringing that up, and our 5-star producers here, Missy and Sorg. It sounds like the owner is retiring. That's what's going on there. The owner is retiring after 40 years. So maybe another group will come in and stand that store up, whether it's a Shop and Save or a Giant Eagle or a community or something else. It sounds like the main reason that the store is closing is because the owner has just done it the majority of his life, and it's time to enjoy the grandkids in Florida, probably. You know what I mean?
And it is a tougher neighborhood to have a store in, but a grocery store should still thrive there at some point. Joseph, I know that's not your district up there in Carrick, but it's not too far away. I mean, Dormont would just be the next hill over. How do you see any potential state intervention here to help communities keep their local stores that they depend on for their basic needs?
Well, my grandmother, who's since passed away, grew up in Carrick. Speaking of state intervention, what we could do is just have state roundtables, making sure that we fill the gap for our most vulnerable citizens, whether that be through food banks or other government programs, but also just making sure the Commonwealth is a good place to thrive overall, so we get that investment from other business persons or other companies throughout the Commonwealth and from this nation. We need to attract businesses, both large and small, to this Commonwealth. We don't need people shopping to open up a store somewhere in Virginia. We would like grocery stores to be opened up here too. So we need to make this a business-friendly Commonwealth.
And you've mentioned now a couple times talking here about consumer protection. Go into detail about that.
Well, my main concern with consumer protection is actually tattoos in this Commonwealth. Ever since I was in high school, I started donating blood, and I remember the woman from the blood bank stating that Pennsylvania is one of the states that has a waiting period to donate blood if you have received a tattoo, and that's because these tattoo shops are unregulated in the state. They're also unregulated in other states and the District of Columbia, so that really puts people at risk for bloodborne infections. I see lots of young people as well as older people liking tattoos, and I don't have one myself, but I think, A, we should support the local blood supply by letting people donate blood if they can, and B, people should obviously feel safe when they go to a store to get something permanently marked on their body. Pennsylvania also does not have a law against tattooing your eye, which a lot of other states are putting legislation in to ban that type of modification at a tattoo parlor. I wouldn't trust anyone from local tattoo shops anywhere to touch your eyeball. So that's my main concern with consumer protection. I would also like to strengthen laws that allow people to seek redress if a car has harmed them that they bought, like updating the Pennsylvania lemon law to allow for certain used cars and extending and warranty protections to make sure people aren't misled through what they're signing. There are many things we can do, but I believe that everyone, whether they're wealthy or not, everyone buys products in this Commonwealth, and these products are supposed to be safe. That's something we should strive for. And I think I can do that in a pro-business mindset that doesn't over-regulate and burden small businesses while also protecting my constituents and people throughout this Commonwealth.
Okay. While you were speaking there, I'm catching up on the electronics, and Councilman Coghill apparently is efforting to find a replacement for that store. Of course, Councilman Coghill just won re-election, so we have to give him the benefit of the doubt here, and we hope that he commits to that. And our friends in Carrick who vote very conservatively up there, we want them to have a place to shop within walking distance. That's dead center tipping point of Brownsville Road there. And
that's a central focus of Brownsville Avenue, and Anthony Coghill is well liked by all voters up there, so I'm sure he will definitely do the maximum to make sure that there's
and we haven't even mentioned the trickle down of not having the foot traffic for the small businesses beside it as well.
Correct.
It's not just one store.
Yeah,
that'll be
it
affected
seems like
by
that
this.
That plaza there. It's not just the Shop and Save that's in there. I think there's a couple other small businesses.
Yeah, and there a pizza shop there for sure, and then
there maybe a phone.
Some fast food across the street as well too. I know that. But,
well, did you want to bring it? Did you want to come down Banksville or down Brownsville all the way down to the south side and talk about the ICE protests? Or did you have something else in mind?
No, I mean we've talked about the grocery store, and that is a tragedy, and there's going to be job loss there, I'm sure as well too. It's not just affecting the consumer.
Yeah, for sure.
But the ICE issue doesn't seem to ever want to go away right now. Well, let's talk about the protests, I guess. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You want to take the
it's
lead on that?
I think we talked about this last show, and I still think that I'm still very confident that the majority of Americans believe that the U.S. should have a sovereign border. As I said on the last show, we had a very popular two very popular Democrat presidents. That's Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, who essentially ran on the same immigration policy as Donald Trump. Now there obviously are some optics that are in your face with respect to the enforcement operations with the Trump administration. And I think Joseph Patrick Murphy said it well. That is because we had a porous border for 4 years,
right,
where people came in unchecked, and there was people were there was motivation behind that. People knew they could come in and potentially get a much better life, earn a lot more money, and who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, I don't think anyone's faulting the logic of the folks that may have come in, sort of cut the line, let's say, and come in. I don't think anybody's faulting the logic. However, we do have laws in this country that if we choose to uphold, and we should uphold, then people can expect to possibly get a knock on their door and say, hey, we don't think you came in the right way. We're going to ask you to go to the back of the line and wait your turn. So, that's my take on the immigration situation. I still think the majority of Americans agree that we do need to have reforms. We do need to have a strong immigration policy. There are millions of people waiting to get in the right way, and they certainly don't want to be held up because someone cut in line. So that's kind of where I am with that.
And I've used the term good faith before. That we are not anti-immigrant. We are anti-illegal immigrant. We appreciate the people who've made the good faith effort to come in legally and not surrender their culture, but at least make efforts to adapt their culture into ours and our way of life. And the illegal immigrants that come in are cheapening the effort that the people that came in legally have made. Joseph, Governor Shapiro has said that the state police will not work with ICE. You're running for state representative. The House could potentially be in the balance as well, too, because the House is so equally divided. Your thoughts on immigration in Pennsylvania?
Look, I think we can all sympathize with those who have just wanted a better way of life, as we said. Well, we're a nation of laws. We are a strong nation who, with having these laws, we actually enforce them. They're not just there on the books. And we have Immigration and Customs Enforcement for a reason. After 9/11, it was created. And I believe there is a proper way to enter this country. Now, we have persons in this county like Lauren Legge, Nicole Norman, and Bethany Hallam who say things like, well, there is no line and you're scaring people. Well, first of all, if there's not a line, you probably shouldn't get here anyway, because we have immigration laws and we can set priorities for who wants to come in. Second of all, if you're scaring people like the people at Casa San Jose say, well, you should be scared if you break a law. And what are you going to do? Rob a store and not be scared the police will catch you? Look, we can all sympathize with people who are here and say, I understand you feel scared, but you did something wrong. You came into this country without proper authorization in violation of federal immigration laws. Whether that's a civil infraction, that doesn't matter. You're not supposed to be here at this moment. I feel sorry for you, but we just can't allow you to be here because you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my take on this.
Okay.
We can have respectful debates on both sides of the aisle. I know my opponent has been very pro-illegal immigrant and is couching it in language of we have to welcome people. She's turned Dormont into a sanctuary jurisdiction. And I don't believe this is the policies people would want from a state representative supporting anti-law enforcement operations and not cooperating with people who are trying to do the right thing and getting illegal immigrants, some of who are very dangerous, out of the country.
And I don't want to speak for you here, but for the purposes of the state police, then you would prefer that the state police, should they come in the course of their duty, come across someone who that they find to be illegally in the country, you would prefer them to be turned over to ICE?
Yes,
via the state police.
If the state police were to enter into a cooperative agreement with immigration and customs enforcement, that's a decision they can make. But I would think it would be very appropriate for law enforcement agencies to help one another and not to hinder each other's efforts. If a police officer in Mount Lebanon sees a large amount of cocaine in someone's basement, they're probably going to inform the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, of what they found, and that's a federal law enforcement agency. We need interagency cooperation, and that includes all areas of law enforcement.
And I appreciate the way you said that if the state chooses not to be involved in the interdepartmental cooperation effect, that is different than having, as part of your normal course of police duty, interacting with an illegal alien and notifying ICE. There is a separation there, and you see it. That's my stance as well, that the administratively, if you choose to sit out the cooperation agreement, that is the prerogative of you as the executive branch, but you shouldn't hamstring your local police and state police in the course of their duty, saying that they can't notify that. And I appreciate the way you say that. It's pretty much my stance on it as well, because that gives the elected executive branch their option to, voting has consequences. I get that. So if the executive says we're not going to enter into an agreement, that's fine. That being different from a police officer who interacts with somebody as a result of a crash or traffic violation, notifying immigration and customs that they believe something is afoot here.
It's my understanding that state police, if an illegal immigrant is involved in a traffic violation or an accident, the state police are not. It's my understanding that state police do not turn that individual over to ICE. I believe that's been a long-standing point with the state police. That's my understanding of it.
So going back to the protests,
yes,
it would seem that based on the Southside protests, that those protesters didn't have a permit, because based on the Trib Review article or something I saw otherwise in the media, it was the police sent motorcycles and they seemed to be surprised by the protesters in the street, and they acted like they had no forewarning about it, and
I did see
that indicates that their protest was unlawful because they didn't have a permit.
And there was a video. I don't know if you saw it. There was a video circulating of I believe there was a gentleman dressed as a patriot,
yes,
on a bike, and he rode through the protest, and I don't think he wasn't well received. It wasn't a civil. There weren't too many civil exchanges with that individual, but that's it's unfortunate, but this is kind of where we are today in politics. It's sort of there's a broader theme here. We seem to really be polarized anymore, which is really a shame, because I think there are laws on the books, and I think most objective people would agree that a law is a law, and how you feel about that emotionally isn't going to influence how the law is applied. And I just think it's causing a bit of a breakdown in civil society here.
Joseph, is part of that protest. Congresswoman Summer Lee was involved there. It's somebody that we think that we want out of our government as our federal representative. How do you see Summer Lee as her work in Congress?
I believe Summer Lee is very divisive. For someone who speaks highly on diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're going after a large population of Jewish individuals in Squirrel Hill who, because of their religious beliefs or feelings towards Israel, have certain feelings, and then you go and attack the merits of the country, defending a terrorist attack by kidnapping people at a music festival, and then defending people who've done that by saying, well, Israel is very bad, they're occupying Palestine. And we don't really like that type of rhetoric here in Western Pennsylvania. Please just stick to representing persons in your district, and please ensure that you're actually listening to people. I believe Summer Lee has lost her mind with some of her behaviors and some of the things she said recently. She is a very empathetic young woman, but I believe that's kind of clouding her vision.
Yeah, I think most reasonable people, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or Independent, are looking for a representative, not necessarily an activist. And I think Summer is certainly an activist. She does a lot of she has a lot of engagement with some of the national people from her party, and I believe she's been lumped into the squad, with some of the more divisive figures in Congress. So I think, in terms of Western Pennsylvania values, Allegheny County values, I think most people are looking for a middle of the road representative, and we hope that this election cycle, the good people of Western Pennsylvania will choose someone that represents them in middle of the road.
I would like to say that a couple of hours ago I was watching C-SPAN 3 to get a more balanced political perspective of the legislative branch of Congress, and Summer Lee was not featured at that hearing, at least from the time I tuned in, but who was featured was a similar representative from Texas, Miss Jasmine Crockett, who thinks she's very witty with her wordplay. She said a bunch of strange things about the Attorney General to the face of the Attorney General. When it was a Republican's term, the Republican gave the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the opportunity to respond. Pam Bondi was responding, and Miss Crockett, out of order, started screaming into the microphone and screaming into the microphone a bunch of things, and then got up and left. And the cameras showed her leaving. And I believe that's the same type of individual that Summer Lee is. It's the same type of individual that my opponent is trying to be. She's going to be, and we've seen this through her rhetoric, someone who thinks she's fighting for people, but just has a protester mentality in a legislative body. And that's not how we behave in a legislative body. You have to act with decorum and very kind words to your colleagues. You don't want to be someone who's seen as a zealot.
Yeah, that's the word that I was going to mention to you, was decorum, and it seems like a lot of them on the far left don't share that. And you've already mentioned some of the county council people, and we know that Councilwoman Hallam has been accused of not having good decorum in some of those meetings. Let's mention what county council is trying to pull here, because I was again asked to comment on the media here the other day.
I saw you on the news last night, Mr. Chairman.
I'm not sure if I'm feeling comfortable with that. I mean, it's weird to start to feel comfortable interacting with the media, but yeah,
it comes with the territory.
It does. It's what I signed up for, and I get it. So county council trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes here under the banner of ICE. And it goes to a bigger issue, a more slippery slope, if you will, about speech. And county council is had public comment on some legislation that they're putting forward, and part of it says that in any circumstances, if you are a county employee, you shall not interact or contact the federal government about crimes. And this is a direction it spills out of ICE, but it would seem that it's not kind of the way that we would want to treat our government employees by silencing them by force. And you have a thought on this?
Well, I think we've had some conversations about this offline, and I think you've actually summarized it very well. I think the focus of council's resolution to move this forward is actually focused on our jail guards.
Yes,
that's what
it probably points more in the direction of jail guards than any other county employee. But yes,
but to with they're doing this in a very political way. So what they've said is they haven't just said jail guards; they've said county employees in general.
Yes, and we'll remind everybody of Councilwoman Helms' stance that she would bulldoze the county jail if she could. And Summer Lee feels the same way.
She's a prison abolitionist.
Prison abolitionist is what they refer to themselves.
And she would be the first to admit that.
Yes.
But you did a great job of framing this. This is in effect aimed at our jail guards. And basically, this is trying to suppress doing your job, essentially. If you're a jail guard,
mm-hmm.
This is what do we call this? This is moral inversion. This is where the rule breakers are rewarded, and if you're doing your job, you are penalized.
Yes.
I mean that's essentially what county council is doing here. And I mean there are many cases around the country where someone that had an ICE detainer, because they have orders to be deported because they are a criminal, they're not just illegal. If that's already something, they're a criminal, illegal person, and they have orders to be deported. When those folks, and there are many instances of this, when those folks are released, when they're not released to ICE, when they're released back into the general population, there are some tragic things that happen as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we should be playing Russian roulette with public safety. And I just really don't understand, apart from political theater, I don't understand why Allegheny County Council is going through with this.
But it does show they are showing themselves. Joseph, we're going to bring you in here in a second here and get your comment on this, because it shows that they are willing to go to any means to silence people in the matter. And if you feel strongly, if you are a jail guard or a deputy sheriff or if you're a social worker and you feel strongly about notifying ICE, you can't even walk out on your smoke break and notify ICE. Joseph, it shows the length that the Progressive Party will go to silence people, and supposedly they're the party of rights. Your thoughts on all of this?
Look, Councilwoman Hallam and I actually went to law school together, and she was in my class. And I didn't have any lecture-based classes with her, but what I will tell you is, talking to her privately, she's a very kind and empathetic young lady, and I understand she feels strongly about her convictions. On October 17th, 2025, in the City County building, We took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth. Now, if a county employee or any other person feels strongly that someone is illegally present in the United States and they want to report that, who knows, maybe someone hit their social worker, and the social worker, who's very left-leaning and left-minded in their own right, says, well, that's enough, I can't be abused at my job. What are you supposed to do, not report that someone hit you and not want them removed so it doesn't happen to someone else? I understand where Bethany is coming from, and I just call her that because of our being in the same class and how strongly she feels about this issue. But the difference here is that I don't think it's right to penalize people for reporting what they view as a criminal or civil infraction just because they learned of that infraction through the course of their jobs. Who knows why people call the DHS number or go on the website and report an illegal alien? It could be someone's angry, and that might not be the best way to go about it, but it also could be, well, someone hit my 2-year-old. You just don't know. And if that thinking of the unknown is why we have these laws in the first place. And even Donald Trump said, and some, referring to illegal immigrants, I assume, are good people. But when people are coming across the border without proper documentation, they bring with them an unknown element, and they have not been vetted. So I believe that they're playing politics and putting it above people's standards of wanting to report and do the right thing when they've been harmed, when they see something that isn't right, or when they just want to uphold the laws of these United States.
Well, we, first of all, Councilwoman Hallam, you're always welcome on the show. You will be treated with respect. And we will talk plenty of baseball because she loves baseball, and that's about the way I find to interact with her is finding out who's going to play first base for the Pirates. But you're welcome on the show anytime. But we're finding some more things out. But of course, this is all out of the ICE problem that is going on in the country. But the legislation does say that that the county will not work with any federal agency, which I find interesting because, and I would love to take credit for what I'm about to say here, but I can't, and I also can't give the credit properly for who did say it. But let's say the detainer that they find in the on somebody in the county jail who's used a false name or something like that is a federal detainer, and it's not ICE, replace those letters with IRS. And the people who always want to tax the rich and get more taxes out of people, now they can't even notify the IRS that there's somebody in the Allegheny County jail with a IRS detainer on them, and that can happen. I just find it very interesting. They don't seem to have a lot of consistency in their message. And Joseph, you could pick your thoughts up on that as well too.
There are many federal law enforcement agencies in the United States of America, including the United States Postal Inspection Service, and the FDA even has a consumer safety officer program where people make sure that the food and drink that we buy at a store is safe to eat. Now, if someone is selling adulterated meat products at a grocery store and trying to pass it off as someone else, and the health department gets wind of that, what, do you not want the FDA to know that? Or if someone is sending people fake notices, purportedly from the county in the mail, and I don't know, the Allegheny County Sheriff sees that they're sending fraudulent sheriff notices, do you not want to inform the United States Postal Inspection Service? I understand that with ICE it's become overtly politicized, especially by people on the left. But let's not forget that there are many federal law enforcement agencies. Regardless of your feelings on one, you shouldn't toss out all of them.
Yes. And our county sheriff could work outside of these boundaries. He does not have to follow this. He is independent from the county executive and county council, yet he follows the party line and how he follows their enforcement policy.
And Joseph, I believe in your district in Dormont, I believe it was last year, I believe one of our residents in the district was killed by an illegal alien. I don't know if you remember that story or not. He was on his motorcycle. Do you remember that story?
I think I remember it from the news media.
Yeah, that happened in your district, and that's why it strikes me a little bit that the councilman from that district, Dan,
Gresbeck.
I'm going to butcher his last name, Grisbeck.
Yes, Dan Gresbeck.
Is one of the 7 council members actually sponsoring this initiative with county council. That just strikes me as a little bit out of touch with your constituents.
And let's not forget that my opponent Jen is the one who she's been advertising that she championed sanctuary resolutions on her time as borough council president. So she's kind of turned the borough of Dormont into a non-cooperating entity, like we've been seeing at this county level, but this is at the local level in her community, which she purports to represent well. And I would say to people who are on the fence about voting for me or her, would you really want someone who is emboldened these types of illicit behaviors to represent you in the state capitol?
And again, I think it's motivation, but in the wrong way. I mean, folks are, adults are smart, and they know where they can go. They know where the sanctuary municipalities are. They know where the sanctuary cities are, and you're inviting this situation, which could have tragic effects on the people that reside in those municipalities. So I'm having a hard time trying to understand exactly what this movement is all about. It does seem to be a lot of political theater, let's say, du jour, because
I think it goes to let no crisis go to waste. I think it's a diversion from some of the other things that they're discovering in Minnesota and some of the other places. Only time will tell, but we need to hold the line for the law, for the rule of law, and stick up for the people who have, in good faith, came here and immigrated here legally, and stand up for them. But I think that's a good place to cut it off. I think
it's a good
we're
discussion.
leaving a lot of meat on the bones as always. Joseph, why don't you give everybody your final pitch here coming up to your special election day?
I would like to say that I am someone who listens to all sides. I'm not a zealot. I am someone who supports small businesses and the rule of law. I support taxpayers. My opponent has made it clear that she's another tax and spend candidate. She wants to raise taxes or tax digital ads. She wants to legalize marijuana and tax that because she knows that we're spending more money than we take in. And I've been openly against that. I will fight for you whether you vote for me or not. However, I would really appreciate your vote, and I think I'm the better candidate in this election coming up.
Okay. Special election day is
February 24th.
February 24th.
10 days after Valentine's Day.
Okay. And
easy to remember.
Need to reinforce to the Republicans that the House could potentially be in the balance. There are 2 special elections going on that day. I don't believe the other ones in this region are all. But the House is very closely contested, and every seat matters to us. And this is an option to take one away from one that the Democrats have held.
The Democrats have a one-seat advantage. in the
Yes.
House.
Again, if you live in that district, I would again encourage you to get a mail-in ballot. I would do it electronically. Request a mail-in ballot electronically, and should be in time to receive it. If not, get out to the polls on the 24th. So
Bring 5 friends.
and bring 5 Republican friends or conservative friends. Hey, show 16 in the books. And again, we could do this for 3 hours.
We could.
We really could. We have more than enough information to talk for 3 hours here, but we'll let this sink in.
This has been a great show.
Yep.
Great to have Joseph.
Yep, Joseph. Good luck to you on the
studio with us.
24th.
Thank you
thanks
very
for coming
much
in.
for having me.
No problem. Why don't you remind everybody about our socials
Okay. Well,
that
thanks.
are growing by leaps and bounds, I might add.
Yeah, the participation from everybody out there on our socials has been outstanding. But I also would like to say if you'd like to get involved, and we really need you to get involved, push yourself away from the phone, from the keyboard, and find your local Republican committee. If you're not sure where your local Republican committee is or how to get a hold of them, reach out to us and we will redirect you if you don't live in the city. So to reach out to us and to follow us on all our socials, you can do that at PGH GOP Committee. That's PGH GOP Committee on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We need you. We need you to get involved. We need you to show up big time for Joseph on February 24th. And yeah.
And I will remind you that on all those socials, you can find this particular
Thank you.
event going on. And go ahead, you.
No, well, this is important. February 26th, petition signatures. So obviously, to get our folks on the ballot, we need to get signatures for them. So we're having a petition signing event at the Bulldog Pub in Morningside. Everybody knows the Bulldog Pub. Please come out. That's Thursday, February 26th. Please come out and sign some petitions for our candidates. Also, there's another petition signing event at Coach's Sunday, February 22nd. I'll just put that up there. Hopefully everybody can see that. There's another petition signing event Sunday, February 22nd at Coach's Auto Shop and Grill on Banksville Road. So,
and that won't be the end of the petition events. There's still some that the details are being worked out. Our friend Barbie Ringler is working on one for the South Side and the District 3 area. And I believe 5-star producer Missy's working on one for the District 4 area.
Yeah, and jump on our socials again, and there will be links for other petition signing events around the city and around Allegheny County.
For sure. And we look forward to seeing you out there and meeting you at these petition events. This is how Republicans get on the ballot, folks. You can't slam the door in everybody's face and then say there's no options to vote for Republicans. Get out and vote for Joseph. And I think we'll see everybody in 2 weeks here. We got Ike the Elephant. We got 5-star producer Missy. So for Russell, my co-host Russell Dreyer, the vice chairman, I am your host and chairman of the Pittsburgh Republican Committee, Todd McCollum. This is the official podcast of said committee, and we call it The Right Side of the Rivers. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks with another special guest, everybody. Be well.
Thanks for tuning in to The Right Side of the Rivers. We appreciate you spending your time with us as we talk about the issues that matter to Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, and beyond. Be sure to visit us online at pittsburghrepublicans.com for more updates, events, and ways to get involved. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on X, Facebook, and Instagram at PGHGOP Committee. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay on the right side of the rivers.